Everyone keeps talking about buying subdividable lots to make money and to get rich, but is it really worth it? As someone who has personally done it, I will tell you my honest opinion with my own projects. Today, I'm taking you through a real estate investment strategy that someone considered a gold mine, subdividable properties. But is it really that straightforward? Let's dig into it. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jas Oberoi and I'm a real estate agent, investor and a serial entrepreneur. I went from working as a server to owning multi-million dollar worth of real estate portfolio in just 8 years. In my career, I have helped hundreds of my clients buy over 900 million worth of real estate using tried and tested strategies, and I am here to share those tips with you on this channel. For those that don't know, subdividable properties are the parcel of land that can be subdividable into smaller lots and sold off individually. On paper, it sounds like a great way to maximize your returns. But there's a lot more involved than just drawing a new boundary lines and putting up a for sale signs. It's far from quick or easy, as you are about to see. Subdividing a property is a process that involves substantial cost, city approvals, and coordination with the professionals. I have broken down the key strategies into 5 stages. Let's start with the stage 1. Stage 1 would be to consult a civil engineer. A civil engineer is going to help you in planning and designing the infrastructure of the subdividable lots. This includes utilities, drainage, roads, dedication, overall layout of the lot. The engineer ensures that your project complies with the municipality requirements. Be sure to budget extra here, as any revisions or unexpected requirements add to the cost of your timelines. So now let's get to step 2. Step 2 is to hire a lot surveyor. Basically, a lot surveyor will do a mapping of your lot, which is going to be subdivided. It is very essential because they are the ones who's going to come into the picture and establish legal boundaries, map out easements on the property or not, and also to verify the slope of the land, what a topographic is, what's the slope and whatnot. All those things are going to be included, and that's a job of lot surveyor. In the nutshell, surveying process provides precise measurements and legal clarity. So now let's get into step 3. Step 3 would be to complete an arborist report. If there are trees on the property, an arborist will assess them to make sure you are in compliance with the city regulations. In some areas, there are strict rules around the tree preservations, which can impact the layout and number of lots can be created. So make sure you have arborists in place who can do the due diligence and can tell you which are the trees which are protected and can jeopardize your subdivision. Now that you are done with all that, you can move on to the step 4, which is the permit process. And here where the things get interested. The permit process typically involves multiple readings. You may have heard it, people talking about first reading, second reading, third reading. What are they? They are basically referring to the stages. So once you get your third reading, which is also known as PLA or preliminary layout approval, until this stage, you are looking at spending around $25,000 to $40,000 as a soft cost for your engineers, arborists, and the surveyors. But once you get your PLA, you will need a development permit followed by the building permit. This entire permitting process can take up to 3 years to complete and require significant upfront spending just to keep the project moving forward. Now that the last and probably everyone's favorite stage is stage 5, where we calculate hard cost and deposits which we have to give it to the city, which is not going to be, by the way, financed by the bank. So that's make sure you have those funds in with you as an extra cushion when you're trying to do any subdivision, because all that civil cost is going to be going to the city as a deposit. Why they take it? They wanted to make sure you finish the job. And in case if for some reason you're not able to finish the job, they're going to do it on your behalf from the deposit which you have given it. So you have to make sure you have those deposits. For instance, I will give you my personal example. My own project, which I will show you also in a bit, involved a deposit of $150,000 in one project, and on the other project, it was $900,000. Obviously, there aren't minor expenses, so make sure you tied up a portion of your capital until these projects are complete. So now this is the whole process of subdivision. Now I'm going to give you real examples of my own investments as a subdivision properties. These projects reveal the reality behind the cost, timelines, and challenges I faced while I was doing a subdivision. By going through these breakdowns, you will see if this strategy is for you or not. I will start with my project in Delta in 2018, a simple 2-lot subdivision. I purchased this property for $1.1 million, made a down payment of $400,000 on this property to get it financed. I didn't do my usual 25% down, as I wanted to keep my carrying costs low initially. I spent approximately $35,000 in total on a civil engineering cost, Arborist report and Lot Surveyor. I had to spend another $300,000 in civil cost and city security deposits to the city of Delta, bringing my total cost at this point of $735,000. Then in 2020, I serviced these lots and I sold each lot for $1 million, which comes to $2 million altogether. I spent $50,000 on advertising and commissions for realtors. Now all that was left was my mortgage of $700,000. Now let's subtract all the expenses. I was left with an equity of $1,250,000. After subtracting my initial cost as well, my profit at the end was $515,000. And yes, that's a lot of money. But was it worth the hassle, the timelines, and the huge expenses along the way? I definitely did not think so. After the Delta project, I thought maybe it was one of the projects, and maybe what I did the mistake was I was getting into a small subdivision. So what I thought is, if I'm going to go through this process again, it might be as well be going on a larger scale, so the returns will justify the work I'm doing it and the amount of time it's taking. So in 2020, I purchased a property in Cloverdale with the plans to subdivide into 7 lots. So I purchased a property in Cloverdale, which was for $4.3 million. It was a 7-lot subdivision. The good thing about this property was it already had a third reading done. So PLA was already done and I took it over from him. All I had to do was to get the development permit to get going. So the property was purchased for $4.3 million. I had to put 40% down in it because the bank was not giving me the mortgage. It was a big property and I didn't have much of experience. So I had to go on a private side now. This is also, you have to watch it. If you don't have an experience on developing a property, majority of the lenders are not going to lend you the money. The only option would be left to do the development. You have to go to the private, which happened in this case too. So I had to go to the private with 40% down. I have to put it in, which comes to $1.7 million. On top of it, I have to pay $900,000 to the city, which includes city fees and also going to be the security deposit. And also it includes the cost of all the civil engineer, arborist, surveyor has been involved in it. So that was the money which I had to pay it. I ended up paying $2.6 million here. The service lots, each lot sold for $1,050,000 on average. The total comes to $7,350,000. Expenses which was being done on this side was commissions and the marketing. So you can subtract $150,000 on it. The existing mortgage which was all there was $2.6 million. The interest which I paid it for 1.5 years from development to taking it to selling the lots was $480,000. The equity which I remained with this one is $4,120,000. My initial cost which I put it from my pocket was $2.6 million. So if I do the subtraction, $4,120,000 minus $2.6 million, the profit comes to $1,520,000. So while the returns on the paper look significantly good, but if you look at the amount of money I put down with all the headache, I still did not think it was worth it. I did get lucky that the market was hot and I sold these lots right away and for the great price. Otherwise, my profits would have been much less than what it shows on the paper. If you were to ask me now what I do differently, I would take the property to the PLA stage and sell it at that point rather than seeing it throughout the completion. The person who sold me the Cloverdale lot made a smart move by selling the property at the stage of PLA. You know why? Because he purchased that property for $2 million. He had to put $600,000 down and he sold me for $3 million. So he made $1 million profit. Whereas I had to put all this down payment and heavy amount of money I have to generate it from my pocket to pay to the city. I ended up making $1.5 million. If you see the numbers here, you can clearly tell who did the smart investment and who did not. Same thing happened to my Delta project. When I purchased it for $1.1 million and by the time I took it to the third reading, I got an offer for $1.5 million. I didn't sell it because I wanted to develop it and I was thinking I was going to make more money. But I ended up making only $500,000. Whereas if I have sold it at the stage of third reading, I would have made $400,000. Again, it is return on equity. So the money I put it in was substantially less than what I have to put it at the time of development. So what I'm trying to say here is, guys, if you are not a full-time developer and you are not into this game for full-time, don't think of developing the property. It's not an easy task. It's a hell lot of a job. I have done it. I have been through and have seen many people doing the same mistake. I was lucky again that I came out of it with some profit. But honestly, if you take the property to the third reading itself, because you are not a full-time developer, what you could do is hold on to the property if the market is not up. And if the market is up, you can just sell it and make a profit. And even if the market is slow there, what you could do, hold on to it, wait for the market to go up. The beauty of this PLA is it's going to be good for 2 years. So for the next 2 years, you can still hold the property and you will be still getting the rent. Whereas if you wanted to develop it, you have to demolish the house. So there's no mortgage help in there. Your all money is going to be tied up in that property, and that can bring you a lot of stress. So guys, at the end of the video, what I'm going to tell you is these subdividable properties may look great on paper. Don't do it if you're not a full-time into it, and be sure you do your numbers properly before you get into it. If you like this video, be sure to check out my video on pay less taxes legally in Canada. And as always, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone else who would be interested in similar kind of content. Until then, I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Take care.